Hey, we want to thank Dee Lee, Chris Chen, and Dave Chen for contributing to our Patreon. We hope you enjoyed the early access to the full episodes of Lucky Boys Podcast. Much love, and thank you for supporting us.
Lucky Boys Podcast.
And then you have people saying like, "Damn, she wasn't with you shooting in the gym." You know what I mean? So, what are some signs to look out for when you see any type of predacious behavior?
I've been through multiple relationships, but the key factor is when I look for a loving long-term relationship and I see the partner kind of taking over your life. You know, you have to be there constantly to, I don't want to say pamper, but more like they have to be next to you constantly.
Right.
Side by side, and then you can't really, go out, hang out with your friends, or, go out, visit your family. They're being restrictive. That's toxic. So
extremely.
Oh, yeah.
When your relationships with other people starts to suffer, that's when you step back and kind of take notice, because you have to question, why are my relationships with other people, except my partner, is failing, or sometimes even your partnership with the person that you're with is also failing, because it's constantly stepping on, you're worried that you're stepping on glass, right? And not trying to disrupt something.
Stepping on eggshells. And,
right.
We had this saying back then when I dated a girl that was like this, very predacious, very toxic. I remember I was playing basketball and she goes, I'm playing basketball on the streets, street ball. And then she goes, "Will."
Sounds like a nagging mom.
I'm with all. Now my mom's actually at a higher frequency. Yeah, real high and loud and mean. But she was like, and there's me and all the boys, and she's like, "Will, I'm leaving right now. So you're either gonna leave with me or what?" Ultimatum. And that's what that was the first sign of, I was like, holy shit, man. My friends told me, "Will," at that time they have this word for it in Chinese. It's like, she needs someone to tum her. Mm-hmm. And what that means, like, she always needs someone to be there for her, comfort her, spoil her, pampering her, doing all that stuff. And I was like, I was telling my boys that, and we're still in the honeymoon phase, and I was telling all my boys that, man, shut up, man.
Was
no way.
this like one of your one of the first relationships you've ever been? So you've never experienced this before?
First, at that level.
Okay.
At that level where it was just so blatant. But during the honeymoon period, I didn't see it, man. She was so nice to me, buying me gifts, clothes. Right. And usually that's a red flag, though.
Just trying to woo you.
Yeah, right. When they buy your love, so it's like she's buying, but she's putting the cloak over my eyes, man. And so I didn't know that, but until the day when I was playing ball, and I was having a lot of fun, man. I'm just out in parts of perfect weather, and we're playing ball. It wasn't like I said, "Baby, I'm gonna leave in 5 minutes." It was just straight up, boom. Hit me with that, like, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I'm leaving now, my way or the highway type shit. Right. Fuck your friends and your stupid sport. Right. So
she didn't have to say all that, but you got the impression.
Yeah, and just the energy. So that was the beginning of the end of that relationship. Mm-hmm. The honeymoon stage, everyone's putting the best front. Yep. Right. Totally agree with that. Once that begins to kind of fade out, and the real them, the representative, goes back into hiding, and it's the real them. You get to the inside, man, that was ugly. When I say it's just ugly, stop hanging out with your friends, right? Meet up with me 24/7. Right. Stop dressing like this. You shouldn't wear hats. You should comb your hair more. You should cut it like this. Yeah. And I was just like, yo, you crazy?
Well, I mean,
that sounds a real controlling behavior.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, super controlling.
That's like super next level. Like your hair, the way you dress.
I remember I was watching the Giants game, and she called me, and she was just straight up like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching the game." "Who you watching with?" I was like, "I'm watching with my brother. Chill." I was like, "Why are you attacking? Like, you mad?" Like, she's like, "Well, is that why we're not hanging out today?" I was like, "What? You didn't even make plans with me today. I didn't say we couldn't chill. If you wanted to chill, I would have chilled with you." I was like, "Do you want to hang out?" "No, forget it." Like, wait, what? Yeah. And she made me feel like I did something wrong. I'm like, wait, I didn't even do anything. Like, wait, what are you doing? Like, why are you mad at me for all of a sudden? Because I feel like she wanted me to just. I think the right answer for her would have been, I'm not doing anything. I miss you. This and that. Something, to.
I wouldn't. So here's a you think
And
that you have the right answer.
I'm not saying she's evil, but I just wasn't the right fit for that girl. Girls like that, I'm not the right fit. So I broke up with her. Yeah.
I think that's also like the personality type. And then I don't know if you guys ever heard of the saying where if somebody has such a huge, that's actually of course trust issue. Like, you're here while you're there, or every time you go somewhere you have to let them know, and you never did anything to make them distrust you, right? Usually what they say once they do that, and this is like literally me, not only like seeing through my own eyes, but to a lot of people, friends, close friends and stuff, situation that happened in their life, they had these kind of behavior. And guess what? Like 99% of them are like, they have trust with you because they know they are going out there and doing messed up things.
Right.
Well,
So you're
here's
saying
what
the
I
person
think.
is, because they did the same thing. That's why they don't trust the person. Like if they cheated, and then they don't trust the other person because they know people cheat.
And that's the
because I cheat.
reason they need to keep you close as possible and have that control over you. And then there's the other personality type. They're extreme. They're like, they go extreme. Like they would attack you and things like that.
Yeah.
They go
physically
like,
attack. Yeah.
So I think like at the end of the day, like, and believe it or not, and I'm pretty sure they might have somebody that kind of matches with that toxicity. Where like two people are like that, and that's great for them.
It's like the Eminem song. I forget. Did you do it?
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Like I cheated on you, so now I'm assuming you're cheating on me too, kind of deal. But another reason why they do that is because they may feel that your friends are the reason you're gonna cheat. They may instigate you cheating. So she wants to cut off any male ties. Because guys' night out, what do guys do? Mm-hmm. Right? She's in her brain, you guys go into the club, and when guys in the club, they're out trying to meet girls. So she's not going to. So she knows that if you don't spend time with your friends and you put all your focus on her, you're going to lose your friends, and it's going to allow her to control you more.
Get closer to basically your circle becomes smaller and smaller.
That may work. I've seen it. That happened to our roommate in college, right? Where she like wooed all of us, and we're like, "Damn, she's awesome." And then she slowly started cutting him off. Slowly, like she started having a deeper sexual relationship with him. So she started controlling him with sex. She weaponized sex. Yeah. She started making threats like with the sex, like, "Oh, you're hanging out with your boys? Well, come on, what's up with this?" And of course he's not going to go, "Oh, yeah, I pass and I'm going to hang out with my friends." He's going to, okay.
Sex is more fun than drinking beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drinking.
So she started weaponizing. Then she got him weak. And then when that didn't work anymore, then she would use drugs, like smoking weed and whatnot. And got him, and he never really smoked weed until that. And then she started controlling him with drugs. She was extremely manipulative. And then eventually we just didn't see him anymore. And we lived with him, right? Mm-hmm. We lived with this guy, and we just didn't see him anymore. And he would only come out to eat.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we actually had a intervention with him. Right?
Yeah.
And it was Norm actually came up to me. It was like, "Will, man." And he never says shit. Norm usually like doesn't give a fuck, very aloof. And he came up to me. He's like, "Will, I need you to talk to him, man. Like, we need to sit down." I'm like, "Dude, there's nothing we can say. He is gone, man. I'm telling you, he is like, he's not ready. We got to give him space and time." And Norm's like, no, we got to talk to him, man. I was like, "All right." So we had this intervention one time, just us and him, just the roommates, right? Just all three of us and him. It was because there was four of us living in that house. And the whole time he's listening to us, he didn't say anything. All he did was nod his head.
But that's because we know him. That's his MO. I mean,
No,
Yeah,
he
that's
was
his MO.
he was just respecting us, and he didn't want to disrespect us, but he didn't want to hear anything we had to say. He didn't want to hear
Yeah.
anything. I could tell. You could feel his energy. Like, come on, guys, shut the fuck up. Let me go back in my room with my girl, and that's it.
Oh,
So,
my.
but he knew. He was like, man, I don't know what I was thinking, man. I was just so. I was like, was it the sex? He admitted. He's like, man,
he was under the spell.
I was under the spell, man. She got me with the sex and the drugs, man. It's very powerful, very powerful weapon used against them.
Absolutely, and I keep saying this to a lot, like everybody, like when you're in that situation, like the longer you stay with them, the harder it gets. You know, the harder it gets to
True.
let go, right?
Very true.
It's the same thing as you said. It's like almost like a drug, right? You're like
You become
you're
an addict.
You
and
become an
it's-
addict.
The longer
an
you're an addict, the harder it is to, you know.
But did
And
you?
that goes both ways. Like sometimes for the female, a guy could pull some weird controlling. I've seen
Yep,
guys
absolutely.
do some toxic ass shit,
Guys
like
are-
I agree.
to cut off anyone and everyone that's associated with her, so that they could get full control of her. And on top of that, and here's a big way guys do it: they attack the girl's self-esteem.
It's
Where they're
happening.
constantly negging her, and girls that are listening,
destroying their confidence, that they're so afraid, like no one else
they're
will love
beautiful
me.
girls. Yeah.
I've seen that happen.
gorgeous
before,
girls from the inside. Even before they met her, I had this one girl. She was like one of my best friends growing up, man. Me and her, we used to like rollerblade together, do all this stuff, and we spent a lot of late nights talking together. And yes, guys and girls can be close friends, right? And we were close friends. We never dated, nothing like that. We were just there for each other. And we dated other people, but we would talk to each other about our relationships. But this one guy that she had, who was my friend, I ended up dating her. Man, at the beginning, again, it was very nice. He was funny, charming, charismatic. Check, 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 right? And once the honeymoon phase wore out, she saw the real him. He was violent. He was abusive. He hit women, and I didn't know that about him. But he put his hands on her.
And that was his MO. He did it before her.
I heard, from another girl, because once we found out we didn't like that, we confronted him about it. And his ex came out and was like, he hit me too, you know, on some crazy shit. So, and I didn't know this. One time we were hanging out, and we're all with our group of friends, and she just, me and her was alone when everybody went to go get drinks, and she just started crying. We were alone in the room, and she just started crying. I was like, yo, you okay? And she just wouldn't say nothing, and she just kept crying. And that's when I knew, man. That's when I knew something was wrong, and I started digging. And yeah, they told me like so. What he did was, and I'm telling you, before that, she was a beautiful soul, man. She was an absolute beautiful soul. She was funny, hilarious, and like everybody wanted to hang out with her. Everybody wanted to talk to her. She was such a good listener, such a good talker, all of that. And after she dated this dude, he just stole all the beauty she had, man. He just polluted that shit. He fucked up. He had something so beautiful. He had such a beautiful woman. And he went in there, and I say woman because she was a woman, man. She was a boss. She handled her business. She was extremely responsible, loyal, smart, all of that. She's a woman. She's no girl game. She doesn't do those things. And he actually got her. And he went in and polluted, man. He did not take care of what he had. He completely destroyed it. He ruined it. He absolutely ruined it. So he put his hands on her because it was a form of control, dominance, right? He destroyed her self-confidence, completely negged her nonstop.
Right.
Kept telling her she looked like ugly.
Right.
There was, she wasn't like hot enough. Her body wasn't good enough. Just made her very self-conscious. To the point where when a year after I saw her cry that day, she was still dating him, and I just happened to randomly bump into her. And again, keep in mind, she wasn't allowed to hang out with her friends anymore.
Yeah, she was cut off, basically.
So she was cut off from us. She wouldn't respond to our texts, nothing.
Yeah.
Right? She just completely went MIA. And one day we saw her again. And I got to tell you, she looked like she aged tremendous. She had bags. And those bags aren't from not sleeping. Those bags are from crying. Like, you just knew. She was crying herself to sleep. And I don't know why she stuck with him. I don't know why she couldn't leave him. But when we talked, when I saw her, I was like, how you doing? Her voice didn't even sound the same. Her energy was gone. The lightness, the beauty that I saw
It's almost like
in a friend.
It was almost like a whole different person that you were speaking to.
It was a shell of herself.
Right.
And that even that is a stretch. And that hurt me. That hurt me in knowing that I couldn't save her from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really wanted to do something, but I couldn't because she just wasn't listening. Kind of like our roommate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the other way, you wanted to save him. You had me jump in, and that's what I knew because that happened before. It happened to our roommate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I kind of knew that there was, when they're ready, then you know they'll come out of it.
Sometimes people are never ready. That's the thing. Like it might escalate to something where where a life is threatened. And I don't want to get to that point. That's why if you have a chance to intervene, then and you're good friends, you have to make that choice, and you have to try. I that's how I feel.
Right.
But if they don't listen, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. But because you're there, I mean, they know that they have a way out if they choose to do so. That's how I feel.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But we have to also be careful with how we approach them because it can push them away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happened with her. All her friends, her female friends, and keep in mind she was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular girl, and all her friends that had the intervention with her, it made her push all of them away further for whatever reason. I wasn't there for that one. It was all like an all female kind of thing,
right?
And they told me about it, and they said she was just blank.
Right.
Every girl took their turn to talk to her, and they were supposedly childhood friends that grew up together, but she just couldn't be receptive to anything they were saying. It was just kind of like bouncing off of her. No one was reaching her, and
maybe not at that moment.
So, quick question: like, did she love him?
Yeah, I think that was her first love.
There you go.
Oh, that was her first.
So that's where
amplified too when it's your first love. When you think it's your first love.
When you're in love, when you're actually breaking up, you go through this whole withdrawal. So instead of going, like, okay, hey Will, thanks for appreciate the advice. You know what? Maybe he isn't good for me, etc. And you go back to the point where, okay, you know what? This is it. I'm gonna let him go. And then suddenly, because of the the withdrawal forces you start thinking like, oh my God, what am I gonna do without him? Who am I? Who's gonna be the next person in my life? Or like you're so into of being with that person for so long.
You're so comfortable in that situation.
He became your circle, right? So now you're now that whole trauma of leaving that person, it literally, love is like a drug. So now you're like, oh my God. So a month passes away from that person, like being away from that person. Mm-hmm. Your brain keeps pushing you to go back.
You're so used to going to bed with this person, sharing a bed.
Yes.
And the moment that stops, you feel like a piece of you've been ripped out.
Emptiness.
You can't even, I remember when, man, I can't even believe I'm saying this. But when I felt that piece of me ripped out and I was going to bed by myself, and that bed never felt more big, and I'm 6'3". That bed never felt more big, and I never felt so small. And I couldn't even sleep. I literally just stayed up staring at my ceiling like time just stood still for me. While the color of the sky was changing, sun setting, sun rising, I just stared blankly into the ceiling. I was just gone. That feeling was just terrible. And I never want to feel like that again. It's just such a paralyzing, lonely, depressing ass feeling, man. It's such a low state of mind of being, and I can't believe that someone was able to do that to me. It's just like, oh man, I'll never put myself in a position like that again. And that was pretty unhealthy. Looking at it, it's like double unhealthy. Number one, getting into a depressive state of mind, and then number two, getting in a place where I'm never gonna trust anyone ever again. I'm never gonna fall in love, and I'm gonna get revenge on all girls and this and that, and it's just terrible mindset to be. And you're really, I'm setting myself up for failure at that point. And any other relationship after that, you know, unfortunately, I'm going to start passing off negative energy to girls, and you know,
and then you're attracting like that same type of
Attracting
energy.
the
Yep.
same
So you
shit.
end up probably dating the same type of person. That's so crazy. Like, to me, that's how
It's a
so
psychological
weird.
thing.
Yeah, psychological. It's weird how human nature like plays a role into like how you interact with like people in your environment.
Is like a girl going from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship to another one, you know,
yeah. Yeah, but,
or the opposite. So I mean,
opposite, yeah.
it literally, you know, when you're in that trance, right? You know, you're going through it. You know, the saying of time heals all wounds is true, and you need time. But the thing is, you got to get through the withdrawal part. You got to get through, whether it's 3 months, 6 months. Like some people, I don't know how much involved they were in. It might take a year or 2 years, right? And here's another thing. I don't think a lot of people put that thought for themselves is, you know, you don't necessarily have to forget, you know. It's like, you know, if you forget, and all about forgiving and moving on in your life, yeah, okay, you could forgive. But when you're moving, don't never forget what happened to you, right? Never forget, you know, the best thing you do is wish them a good, happy life, right? And then, you know, you go kind of move on. Because if you keep putting that and keeping that on, okay, that person did wrong to me, and you know what, how can I ever trust the next person, etc., you're still keeping that energy that you have from him or her, and now you're kind of transferring to the next person.
And that's not fair for that person.
Absolutely.
On the rebound.
And that's why you're saying it's important not to forget. You can forgive, but not forget, because if you do like forget about the past, you're repeating your
destined to repeat.
Yeah, destined to repeat your past.
Yeah, totally agree on that. And I think a lot of people don't want to give them that. Like, it's when you go through this time of ordeal or breakup, any kind of relationship with, you don't have to be married to the person. It could be a simple relationship, but you're madly in love with them. You've been with them for 2 years, 3 years. You could be in love with somebody within a month, and after, let's say, something didn't work out, whatever the case is, and you're breaking up, the feeling is still, that heartbreak is still the same thing. You know, it's all like, you have to know how to get through it. But you know what, at this point, you're not thinking about that. You're all the outside influence you're getting. You don't give a 2 F's about it, you know, and those are the last thing you want to hear.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yeah, I do.
I'd say it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
It it happens. I would say, like, some people could turn love at first sight into infatuation, right? It could be infatuation.
It could be lust.
It could be
lust at first sight. I believe that lust at first sight is more...
And maybe turn into love.
More probable.
Happens more. There's more frequency of that
more
occurring.
Probable, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, with me, it was love at first sight. Like, I honestly, like, as soon as I saw her, I fell in love. Like, it's just, I don't know what love was. I was so young. But when I got older and I got to think about it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't know it at that time.
Oh, okay. So you're retrospect. Like,
yeah, because
in retrospect,
when you're young think. And you never experienced love before like that, like on that level, like, you know, love outside your family, like towards a companion. And when I saw her, it was instant. Like, my eyes just lasered in, and I was locked, and I never felt like that, and I didn't know what the fuck it was, and I was young, man. And I had no idea. I just super infatuated. My legs buckled, butterflies in my stomach. And I've never felt that way in my life. And looking back at it, I was absolutely in love. Absolutely in love. And that was, since the moment I laid eyes on her, I fell in love. And then after the fact, it's just when I actually got to meet her. I mean, when I saw her, I didn't even know her. And when I got to meet her, it was just like, I just kept falling in love more and more and more. And that's the first time that I became aware that there's different levels of love. That when you fall in love with someone initially, there's that first level of love. And then it just gets deeper and deeper until you hit to a point where it's unconditional. And that's when you're just like, okay, that's when you're maxed out. Like I don't, I think that's like one of the highest levels of love is when it's unconditional and you don't want to hurt this person, and everything you do is to make sure that you level up that other person, and you're a father and so am I. So I know we can understand that, right? Like when your daughter's born, when the first time you held her,
Oh my God.
it was love at first sight,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And as she's developing and grow older, and as you're getting to know her, you find new things to love about her, and you just keep hitting these new stages of love. Like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I love you so much, and then you're rooting for them, and you just want the best for them. And I feel I get that way towards people that I love, whether in a physical relationship or a relationship with my friends. I mean, it doesn't just have to be family or blood or someone that I'm sleeping with. It could be with someone that I hang out with, and you're my friend and we're close like this. I mean, I want to see you win. I want to help you win. And if something great happens to you, damn it, I feel like it happened for me. Because look, if I could root for the Knicks or the Mets or the Giants or whatnot, for a sports team, and none of those motherfuckers know me, and I know this person right here, why wouldn't I root for you? I should root for you. I know you. I know you. You're in my presence. I'm in your presence. And that's what I don't understand sometimes, how friends can be jealous. Like, I never really got that. How friends can be jealous of their own friend's success, and then meanwhile root for strangers' success. It's like, it fucks me up. I'm like, you understand that if your boy eats, like, there's a good chance you're going to eat. But there's like almost 100% chance that this guy that you don't know that's succeeding is not going to hook you up with shit anyway. So I might as well just root for my friends than root for this stranger.
Isn't it like a complex for people to kind of celebrate people who are kind of out there?
They're celebrity worship.
Celebrity worship and stuff like that. But then it's sort of human nature. There is jealousy that goes through everybody, and rivalries and stuff like that, especially with people close to you, because, it's sort of like you're looking at yourself, and then you kind of project your own insecurities to people closest to you, obviously, right? So like, if I'm not at that stage in life, like, why should you be? We should be, I want you here with me because, we're boys. That's the way I see it. Yeah. It's like, it's easy for someone to fall into that. I
mean, I get what you're saying. Misery loves company somewhat, or you don't want to see someone fly because it makes you, it shines a light on your laziness or inadequacy or whatever it is that you're insecure about. But at the same time, just because that person's going up doesn't mean that they're not going to take you with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so why would you want their demise? They're not taking anything away from you. They're working hard and they're they're doing the difficult. And that's why they're succeeding at it. They're doing something that's extremely difficult. And so why, I mean, and if they're really your friend and you care about them, why wouldn't you want to see them elevate? So that means you never loved that person in the first place. You just wanted, there was something else.
I think there's a difference between trying to pull someone down and just, or not, when you say support, maybe like, kind of pushing them towards the goal that they want to achieve, something greater. That's two different things. Like, for someone to say like, look, I want to be like, I want to move out to LA. I want to be a star, a movie star, or act in films and do something outside of the norm, right? And then your friend says like, yeah, you should go out there and do it. Definitely go out there, do it this summer, and or the other friend who says, why are you doing that, man? You're Asian. No, there's no Asian actors out there that are doing amazing like things like blockbuster films. Why are you doing it? There's no point in doing that. Those are two separate, different people, and I'm trying to pinpoint like, okay, but the friend who's like giving their advice to kind of like push you, they're your number one fan, right? So, but they're not actually like buying you the plane ticket to go out there. They're
Yeah, but-
they're not like,
But what do you mean? They're two separate friends. As in, like, what do you mean? They both love you.
Yeah, they both
just
love
think
you.
differently.
yeah.
I would question the love. I would challenge that. I would push back on that love because check this out. Let's say you do go to LA and you do become a A-list star. The person that pushed you,
Yeah. And they
I said, go ahead, buy
get
that
for it."
ticket, and
Well,
you
no,
actually make it, right?
Well, he tells you to go. Go for
I'm
it.
willing to bet that person that told you to go for it is more likely, not 100%, but I'm saying more likely to still be happy for your success when you actually do make it. They're just like, oh shit, man, that's my boy. Let me post a picture on the gram with him. Yo, this my boy before he was a star. Yo, I love this dude, man. Super inspiring. Bam.
Yep.
Right? And I bet you, and I'm willing to make a bet, that person that denied him, that was proved wrong, is going to be a hater. It's gonna be a damn hater.
And then they'll break off all relationships with you.
Outside he may not be. Outside he may
You mean
hit
like
him on the text or
sneaky
something.
stuff
Not,
like that.
I don't know, sneaky or whatnot. I don't really give a. I'm just saying outside he might be, oh yeah, like just, the ego, the pride is gonna
Right.
show that he's not really hurt. Inside he might be like, fuck this motherfucker talking shit, because why? You, number one, you proved him wrong. Number two, the reason he said that is because he's projecting. He's going, if I go to Hollywood, I can't make it. Therefore, why would you do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Right. So then, when
what
you
if
do
they
it,
don't want to do that?
so then when you do it, but what if, because they don't believe that they can. That's why they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't dare to dream big. They only dare to dream what they can see in a very close range. They don't got that long range vision. They don't got that sniper rifle shit. You know what I mean? They can only play in close quarters. They can't see far. They really can't. They don't have that imagination or that vision. So I'm willing to bet that same person that has someone else that thinks differently for them and actually achieves that, and especially they know them, they're not gonna like that too much inside. They can't really appreciate that.
Just because they have a difference in opinion, whether they're trying to really elevate you or giving you a different path, like, okay, giving you facts like, okay, not many Asians, so you can't make it.
That's extreme case, by the way.
That's extreme. Like, you can't make it or whatever. I mean, if you're a really good friend, you wouldn't say, hey, you can't make it, but there's not many, but you could be that person, right? You could be that first person that makes it. So I think it depends. Like, if it's somebody who's completely negative, always negative, they're always going to be negative. They're not really, at the end, like what you said, they're not going to really push you towards the goal or dream that you may have.
Yeah, but why would you want to surround yourself with
you don't.
friends that just don't have that vision? You know what I mean? Because they're always going to try to put some dead weight to your movement.
But at the end of the day, it's also good to have that opinion and seeing like the different perspective. I think as you grow older, and as you grow older, you also get certain of level of maturity, right? So this is where you realize the type of people you want to keep in your circle, and the type of people, like the people that embraces. Well, they've been with you for a certain amount of time, that you understand that the people that are wants to help you achieve or even goes the extra mile. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But then there's the other people that kind of has the negative, let's say, ideology or thought of where you headed. You get to see that other side. Now, if you don't see it, I think that, as you're building up at your perspective and maturity, then you might totally become somebody else.
You're saying you're able to identify the people that you don't want in your life.
Yeah. Well, I think it's part of the growth in life. So I had some good friends and bad friends, some amazing friends. And I even came to a point that I had hundreds of friends. And I really thought, because of my overall naive personality at that time, is that I think everybody's amazing. I thought everybody wants the best for you, you know. But as you grow older and see the dark side of people, you're like, oh my god.
Doesn't that
So you can see
suck?
how
Wait,
innocent.
that realization?
when did you realize that?
Uh,
I think definitely people realize that at a different.
Everyone
different
comes
ways.
to realize that at some
Yeah,
point in their life.
Well, it's the first time I got beat up by a whole neighborhood. You know, you think like little kids, the most innocent, right? And then when I first moved into East Harlem, I got jumped by the whole neighborhood almost. The floor, like,
So
you know,
these are adults. Adults,
kids and
teenagers.
older kids
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Older kids too. So I was like, wow, like what? You know, I didn't say anything bad. Like, I was trying to like make sure the kids doesn't have a bad mouth. You know, do you say
Yeah,
this?
but how was that your friends?
No, I'm just saying like overall the reality of people, right? I think that's when I realized. So Marvel innocent mind.
I'm just
thinking,
talking about like friends, right? Like when did friends, like when did you get that like realization where your friends didn't have your best interests?
It was when I was dating this girl in high school, and then
I know that story.
Yeah, you know that story.
Go ahead, share it.
I want to know.
I told you the story too. So I was dating this girl in high school. We were like high school sweethearts.
Oh, okay.
And then we went to college, and then we kind of broke up or had a
We're on a break
type of thing, right? And then so I had really close friends that came to university with me from high school, and this particular one, in retrospect, when I was away, I was traveling abroad, and
Dirty.
this guy he swooped in and took my ex-girlfriend or girlfriend on a break.
Oh wow.
So I realized like back in the day he would make me look bad. He would make me look back in front of her. He would like, you know, say things that would put me down in front of her, and I was like, and I thought we were just like, you know, we're friends. We could you know, talk shit to each other. But then I realized like, you know, he's doing this on purpose to make me look bad in front of my girlfriend at that time. And then I realized like, yo, this guy, he's so conniving. And then I talked to other friends of mine, close friends that we were friends together.
Yeah.
And they would say the same thing. They would do this exact same thing to them with their girlfriends when they weren't when he didn't have girlfriends. So, and I'm like, wow. And they realized like, yeah, this guy's a low down scumbag, you know. And I realized like, oh, the stuff that I saw wasn't like something that, you know, everyone saw it. It's just that, you know, I didn't confront him about it, you know, at that time.
So what were some of the signals like that you saw too late? Like, so you're saying while you were with your girlfriend and the rest of you guys who were dating,
Yeah.
I guess he was always the fifth wheel, so to speak, right?
Yeah. He'll be the single dude. Yeah.
So, and you guys didn't think anything of it because you guys thought he was in your circle. But
Yeah.
during that time, he would completely rag on you, pull some alpha male shit
Yeah.
and in front of your girlfriend.
Yeah. In front of my girlfriend. Try to make me look
Ooh.
bad.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, my girlfriend at that time, she didn't say anything. She definitely
She was probably liking it. Like
Didn't.
oh shit.
I don't know. Honestly,
She
I don't know.
ended up dating him.
Yeah, but they broke up like a week later because she knew
really?
she was a scumbag. I mean, like because he was doing this to other girls too, or doing something, you know. So he was.
Oh, they only went out for a week. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't long. It was short. It was short. It was maybe
shit.
I'm exaggerating. It's not a week. Maybe it's like a couple months, but you know, it was short.
To kind of add on that, so you know, overall, or I guess when it comes to friends, I was giving you an example on like just generally my innocent kind of like went from trusting people to like, oh my god, there are bad people out there. But I had the situation where I've had a friend. This is a friend in college who I actually moved out of my house. I did move out of my house, and this friend let me stay in his house, in his room, for about 2 months. And you think, wow, this is a really good friend that went above and beyond, you know, had convinced his parents to let me stay. And this is also kind of like tough time for me, etc. So this friend is somebody like, you know, I really respect it. Like, I really respect him. Like, you know, he went above and beyond for me, convincing your parents to let me stay for a few months, etc. And then there came to a part where later I find out that he was kind of like trying to get with my girlfriend and like was lying about behind my back. And then also when one of the reasons he kind of like literally went distant from me is when I let him borrow like about $400 something to buy some prescription glasses, but also designer glasses. And I put it on my credit card, and I told him, I like, dude, like whenever you have the money, you know, you give me. And I knew he had money. His parents are loaded overall, but he just, you know, he didn't have the money at that time with him. So I was like, yo, just use my credit card and you could pay me later whenever. Now here's this. Me before this, like this whole incident happened, me and him, we had a conversation about friends lending money, right? And I told him, I'm like, you know, I don't get it how people fight over money, then, you know, like, and break friendships over money. So we had this whole conversation about it before. I'm like, you know, I would never care about the money. I'd rather care about my friendship. So when this incident happened, 2 weeks later to 3 weeks later, this guy, he completely like starts ignoring me. He you know, and usually when we hang out, like we hang out in a group, like he doesn't invite me anymore. He's just like completely changed person. I'm like, wait, what the hell?
Oh, so he played you.
Yeah, played me. I'm like, what? Just for 400 something bucks?
You got some money.
Creating the toxic, you know, situation also. So I'm like, oh my God. And even when you had that conversation with them, it's not about the money. It's about the friendship. I feel like
this is like a fucking AA meeting we're having here.
Professional.
Hey, who screwed you over?
Yeah, who screwed you over?
Who screwed you over, man? You know, but it's a part of life. I feel like it's a rite of passage that's almost unavoidable. And basically anyone that I meet, I mean, they had their fair share of someone who totally fucked them over in the worst way, where they completely betrayed their trust.
Oh, I don't know. If you're in love, I don't know if I could get through that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think everybody has a different way of coping.
Relationships are tough, and just to circle back with the predacious behaviors, and there's a lot of red flags you could watch out for, man. And the key thing, I don't know. In a relationship, I think if the person, or friendship, if the person doesn't have your best interests,
if you're not supporting each other and not growing together, then that's another, you know, that's a red flag too, you know, because if you were looking for someone to be with for the rest of your life, you know, that kind of, that's your goal, your mentality, to be with someone who you can like grow with, and that's not happening, then that's an easy answer for you, right? You can just let it go. It's like dead weight, and then you move on.